function, we have created an object of this YouTube channel class, and we have assigned it these two values for our name and our owner name. And then we have as well added 3 videos to this published videos list. And here we have written out information about our channel. So if I run this code now, as you can see, this is how it behaves. It writes out information about our YouTube channel. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is encapsulation. And what does this principle of encapsulation says? Well, encapsulation says that these properties here should not be public. These should be private, and then the way to change the value, the data that you store inside these properties, should be really using methods that you expose, and then you give access to those methods to your user, and then using those methods, obeying the rules of those methods, your user can change the value of these properties. Okay, so let me introduce a problem here so that you can really understand why we need encapsulation. So what happens if I say, for example, that YouTube channel, so this that we have created, has, let's say, 1 million subscribers. Okay, this is 1 million. Now we have assigned 1 million subscribers to this YouTube channel, and this should not be allowed. If I run this program, you can see that this YouTube channel has 1 million subscribers now, but this is not the natural way to gain subscribers for your YouTube channel. What you should do instead is you should give your user the ability to invoke subscribe and unsubscribe methods, and then using those methods you are going to increase or decrease this subscribers counter. So let's do that. Let's first hide these properties from our user, so from whoever is going to use this class here. So how do you hide these? Well, you make them private. So here, instead of using public access modifier, I'm going to use private access modifier. So I'm going to say private, like this. And then these should stay public. So I'm going to put public here, like this. Okay. And then, as you can see, we have a problem here. It says that this subscribers count is inaccessible, and then this published video titles as well is inaccessible, meaning that we cannot access these private members of our class. These private members can be accessed only within this class itself. So how we are going to give our user the ability to change this subscribers counter? Well, as I said, we are going to create methods. So let's create 2 methods. The first one is going to be void subscribe, like this. And then what this method should do, it should increase this subscribers counter. So here I'm going to say subscribers counter, like this, plus. Using this increment operator, we are going to increase the value that we store in this variable by 1. And then we are going to have as well unsubscribe method. So I'm going to copy this, paste it here, and let's say unsubscribe. And then here I'm going to say that this subscribers count is going to be decremented. So now if I will have to comment this code here, and then I'm going to delete this code here. And now if I want to increase or decrease subscribers for my channel, what I will have to do is I will have to invoke one of these 2 methods. So let's say, for example, YouTube channel dot subscribe, like this. Okay. And let's invoke this method 3 times, for example. And now if I run this program, as you can see, my channel, so Code Beauty channel, has 3 subscribers. And then let's say, for example, that I haven't published videos in a while, so people decide to unsubscribe. So I'm going to invoke this unsubscribe method, like this. And if I invoke this get info after that, I should have 2 subscribers. Well, as you can see, I have 2 subscribers now because 3 people have subscribed and then 1 person has unsubscribed from my channel. Okay, so we have this code here as well that was underlined, meaning that it has compile time error, and it says member published video titles is inaccessible, meaning that now we cannot access this published video titles list anymore because it is private now. So I'm going to expose a method that is going to publish videos for me. So here I want to create a method of type void, which is going to be called publish video, like this. And then here I want to add a video to my published video titles, like this. So I'm going to say published video titles, push back. And then what I want to do is I want to pass a value here. Which value? Well, we are going to receive that value as a parameter in our function. So here I'm going to add an argument, a parameter, and that is going to be of type string. And let's call it title, like this. And now we are going to use this title here. So we are going to push this title in our published videos titles. Okay, like this. Now, if I want to invoke this method, I'm going to invoke it like this. So I'm going to say YouTube channel dot publish video, like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, and then here, and here as well. Okay, so now we have created these methods that we invoke, and then using these methods, we change these properties, and these properties should be private, meaning these should be encapsulated. Okay, and now as you can see, we have a channel called Code Beauty, and then owner is myself, and subscribers is 2, and then these are videos that I have published so far. Now, if you look at this unsubscribe method, you will notice that it has a bug. What is that bug? Well, let's delete these 3 lines of code. Let's delete these subscribe method invocations. And if I run my program now, what is going to happen? As you can see, it says that my subscribers count is equal to -1. And that does not really make sense. So you cannot have -1 subscriber. And we are going to fix that problem if we put here inside this unsubscribe method a check. So we want to check if our subscribers count is greater than 0. And only in that situation, if that subscribers count is greater than 0, only then we can decrease this subscribers count value. So if I run my program now, as you can see, we have invoked this unsubscribe method, but we still have 0 subscribers. And now we have fixed that bug that we had, because if no one has subscribed to our channel, then no one can unsubscribe from it. Okay, so that was a bug that I wanted to fix. And then what you can do here, because here we have exposed these 3 methods that really manipulate the values that are stored inside these properties. And then these 2 properties, there is no way to change them outside of this class. So what you can do for them, for example, is you can create a getter and a setter, meaning a method that is called, for example, getName, and that method is going to return you the value that is stored inside this name variable, and then a setter method, meaning setName method, that is going to receive parameter which is going to be called name, for example, and inside that setName method you are just going to change the value that is stored inside this name property. And then you can do the same for this owner name as well. So you can create a getter and a setter method. So let's go over this encapsulation rule one more time. So encapsulation rule says that all of these properties should be private, meaning they shouldn't be accessible outside of this class, and you do that by making them private. So you put this private access modifier here, and then how do you change the values that you store inside your properties? Well, you expose a public methods that are going to change the data that you are storing inside your properties. And here we have created these 3 public methods that are going to change the data stored inside our subscribers count property, and then inside our published video list property here. So you can, for these 2 properties, again, you can create getter and setter method. And if some of you do that, please put that code in the comment section and I'm going to review it. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon as well. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye! Hi everyone, my name is Saldina and I make IT and programming related videos on my channel. So if that is something that is of interest to you, consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up as well. And in this particular video, I want to talk about inheritance. So here I have my Visual Studio and here I have some code that we have written in the previous tutorials of this course. So if you haven't watched those, make sure to watch them. And now I'm going to go very quickly over the code that we have here. So I have created a class that is called YouTube channel, and that class has 4 private properties: name, owner name, subscribers count, and then published video titles. And then we have a couple of public methods as well. We have a constructor, which just initializes these variables here. And then we have getInfo method that just writes out information, the values that are stored inside these properties here. And then as well, we have subscribe and unsubscribe methods. Our subscribe method increases our subscribers counter, and then our unsubscribe method decreases that subscribers counter. But first we have to check if that subscribers count is greater than 0. So those would be subscribe and unsubscribe methods. And then we have this publish video method as well that just adds a new item, adds a new title to this published videos list. Okay, now what is going to happen if I want to create another type of YouTube channel, a specific type of YouTube channel, which is going to be, for example, cooking YouTube channel. So I should copy these properties, right? Well, that can be one approach, but the quicker and better approach is going to be to inherit this YouTube channel class. So let's do that. Let's create another type of channel. So let's create another class. Let's say class, and then let's call it cooking YouTube channel, like this. Okay, now I have created a class that is called cooking YouTube channel, and in order to inherit this YouTube channel class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this column sign and then I'm going to say public YouTube channel, like this. And in this way, my cooking YouTube channel is going to inherit my YouTube channel. And that means that my cooking YouTube channel is going to have everything that my YouTube channel has. Now, this public access modifier means that whatever is public in this class here, it is going to be public here as well, so in this derived class. And one very important thing is to know that this class is called base class, so the one that you inherit from, that is base class. And then the derived class is going to be this one here. So the one that inherits from the base class is called derived class. And in this particular situation, our cooking YouTube channel is derived class. Now, what is going to happen if I want to create, for example, an object of this cooking YouTube channel? So I'm going to say cooking YouTube channel, and let's call it YouTube channel, like this. Okay. Now, as you can see, it says that default constructor of cooking YouTube channel cannot be referenced. Now, that is because we do not have a constructor for this class here. So let's create one. Let's create a constructor. So I'm going to copy this name and then add these parentheses. Okay. And now if I hover over this, it says that the constructor is inaccessible. So we still have an error, but we have a different error, which means that we are making progress. So because this constructor is inaccessible, I will have to make it public to make it accessible outside of this class here. So I'm going to say public. Okay, and now my constructor is going to be accessible. But there is another thing that we have to do, and that is going to be inside this constructor, we have to receive properties that we are going to initialize in our constructor. And those are going to be these two properties, name and owner name. So here I'm going to say that my constructor receives two properties. So string name and then string owner name. So the owner of that channel. And what I'm going to do when I receive these two properties, I'm not going to initialize them here in my constructor because I'm inheriting from a class that already knows how to construct, how to initialize these two particular properties. So I'm going to call the constructor of that class. So I'm going to call the constructor of this YouTube channel class. So here I'm going to put this column sign, and then I'm going to invoke its constructor. So I'm going to say YouTube channel, and then I will pass these two parameters here. So I'm going to say name and then owner name, like this. And now our base class, our YouTube channel class, is going to construct, to initialize actually the value of these two properties. And as you can see here, we have an error that asks us to pass these two values to our constructor. So we are going to pass two parameters. The first one is going to be the name of our channel. So let's say that that is going to be, for example, Amy's Kitchen, like this. And then owner is going to be girl named Amy. Let's put that here as well. Okay. Now, after I have created an object of this cooking YouTube channel, what I should be able to do is I should be able to access all of these public methods that my base class has. So all of these methods from my YouTube channel class should be available for my cooking YouTube channel. So here I'm going to say YouTube channel dot, and then as you can see, these are available. So get info, publish video, subscribe, unsubscribe. Let's write out info about my channel like this. And if I run it now, well, you can see that we have Amy's Kitchen channel. Owner is Amy. It has 0 subscribers and it has no videos as well. So let's publish a couple of videos for Amy's Kitchen channel. So here I'm going to say, okay, before this get info function, I'm going to say YouTube channel dot, and then let's say publish video of, for example, apple pie, like this. And then let's publish another video, let's say, for example, chocolate cake, like this. And now if I run this program, as you can see, we have two videos. And let's as well say that people like these videos, so they decide to subscribe to Amy's Kitchen channel. So I'm going to say YouTube channel dot subscribe. So for example, 2 people decide to subscribe to her channel. And if I run my program again, you can see that now we have 2 subscribers as well. So we have been able to invoke all of these methods that are implemented in our base class. So here, from the object of our derived class. So from the object of this derived class here. Now this derived class, this cooking YouTube channel, can have its own members, meaning things that are specific for this class only. So let's say, for example, that we want to create a method that is going to be called, for example, practice. So I'm going to say void practice, like this. And then what this method should do, it should just make our user that has this cooking YouTube channel, it should say that this user is practicing cooking and then learning new recipes and things like that. So I'm going to say cout, like this. And then let me copy this part of the code because I don't want to make a typo, like this. So it says that our YouTube channel's user is practicing cooking, learning new recipes, and then experimenting with spices, because I guess that's something that you should do if you have a cooking YouTube channel. And let me add end line here as well, like this. So now if I decide to invoke this method is going to be available only for objects of this cooking YouTube channel. So I'm going to say YouTube channel, like this, and then let's say practice, like this. Now, let me very quickly change the name of this YouTube channel object, because I want to create another object that is going to be of this YouTube channel type, and I want to call that YouTube channel. So here I'm going to say cooking YouTube channel, and I'm going to paste that name here, and then here, and here as well. Okay, now we have named this object cooking YouTube channel, and if I run this program, you can see that at the end it says practicing cooking, learning new recipes, experimenting with spices. Now, as I already said, this practice method should be available only for the objects of this cooking YouTube channel class. So that means if I decide to create an object of this class here, this base class, that class is not going to have this practice method. And let's prove that very quickly. So here I'm going to create an object of YouTube channel class type, and let's call that object YouTube channel. That's why I changed the name of this object, like this. And let's say that that is going to be my channel, for example, Code Beauty, like this. And then let's say that owner is my name, Salvina. So now if I try to access this practice method on my YouTube channel, so I press dot, you can see that that method is not available for this base class. It is available only for this cooking YouTube channel class, because this practice is very specific method, meaning this Code Beauty channel, which is oriented to programming and IT, does not really benefit from learning recipes and experimenting with spices, practicing cooking and things like that. So this channel should probably have some other way of practicing, because it is different type of channel. So I'm going to delete this code here. Okay, and let's repeat this one more time. So we have created a derived class which is called cooking YouTube channel, and we have inherited everything that our YouTube channel class has by saying public and then the name of our base class, and this public access modifier is going to allow us to have whatever is public here, to have that public here as well. And then we have created a constructor for our cooking YouTube channel, and in that constructor we receive two parameters, name and owner name. And since our base class constructor knows how to initialize those two, we have here invoked this base class constructor. And then here we have created as well a method that is called practice, and that method just says that our user is practicing cooking and he is learning new recipes and experimenting with spices. Now there's one more thing that I want to show you, and that is going to be let's create another object of this cooking YouTube channel, and that is going to be let's say cooking YouTube channel 2, and let's call it John's Kitchen, like this, and owner is going to be, for example, John. Now, what is going to happen if I say, for example, that this second YouTube channel, so this cooking YouTube channel 2, John's YouTube channel, is practicing? I'm going to comment these two because I don't need them. And if I run my program now, you can see that it says 2 times practicing cooking, learning new recipes, experimenting with spices, and then the same line here. So you cannot really differentiate between which one is Amy's channel and which one is John's channel. So in order to make that a bit more understandable, I'm going to add a property here. So here I want to add the name of the owner of this channel. So here I'm going to say, let me copy this property like this. So owner name, And then let's say that that owner is practicing cooking, learning new recipes, experimenting with spices, and so on. But as you can see, this property here is not accessible. It says that member owner name is inaccessible. And why is that the case? Why is it inaccessible? Because it is private, and if you remember, private members can be accessed only within that class, and then public members can be accessed from outside of that class. But what happens if you want to have, for example, a certain property to be accessible in the derived class? Now there is an access modifier for that as well. So that is going to be protected access modifier. So I'm going to say here protected, like this. And then I'm going to move this owner name to my protected area, like this. So now this owner name property should be accessible in derived classes as well. And as you can see, the error has disappeared. So now if I run my program, you can see that it says that Amy is practicing cooking, learning new recipes, and experimenting with spices. And then this second line here says that John is practicing cooking and learning new recipes and experimenting with spices. So now we have made a difference. We have specified the name of our owner of the channel, and we can understand what the code is doing a bit more. I hope that you understood what is inheritance and how it works in C++. And if you did, please like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that bell icon as well. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye! Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Saldina and I make IT and programming related videos. So if that is something that is of interest to you, consider subscribing to my channel and give this video a thumbs up as well. And in this particular video, I want to talk about polymorphism. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I want to explain what is polymorphism. Polymorphism describes the ability of an object, for example, to have multiple forms. Now, that means that you can have two or more objects that inherit from the same base class. Those objects can have the method that has the same name but different implementation, meaning different behavior. And I'm going to demonstrate that on an example. Now here I have some code that we have written in my previous courses, so if you haven't watched those, make sure to do so. The links to those videos are going to be in the description. And I'm very quickly going to go over this code. So here I have created a class that is called YouTube channel. That class has three private properties: name, subscribers count, and then published video titles. And then it has one protected property, which is owner name. Now, these private properties, these are available only in this class. And then these protected properties, these are available in derived classes as well. And then here we have public methods as well. And this here is our constructor, so it just initializes values of these properties. I'm going to collapse that. And then here we have getInfo method, which just writes out information about our YouTube channel. And then these subscribe and unsubscribe methods, these just increase or decrease the number of our subscribers. Let's collapse that. And then publish video method, it just adds another video to this published video titles list. So that would be our YouTube channel base class. And then here we have cooking YouTube channel, which is a specific type of YouTube channel that inherits from this base class here. And that cooking YouTube channel has its own constructor, which is this one here. And here we have just invoked the constructor of our base class. And then here we have implemented a method which is called practice. And it says that when you practice and you have a cooking YouTube channel, you will have to be practicing cooking and then learning new recipes and experimenting with spices. Now, what I want to do is I want to create another derived class. So I'm going to copy this. Okay. And then this derived class should be called, for example, let's paste the name here. So Singers YouTube channel, and I'm going to paste the name here as well on my constructor. So this is going to be a YouTube channel about singing. Now, as you can see, this Singers YouTube channel has this practice method as well, but this implementation is not right for my Singers YouTube channel, because if you're a singer, you are not going to benefit really from practicing cooking and then from learning recipes and experimenting with spices. But what you should do instead is you should practice something else. So I'm going to copy that so that I don't make a typo, like this. So someone who is trying to make a Singers YouTube channel is going to take singing classes and then learning new songs, and then he should as well be learning how to dance, because I believe that singers should know how to dance as well. Okay, so now we have implemented this Singers YouTube channel, and as you can see, as I already demonstrated, it has this same method, which is practice, but this method has different implementation than this one. And as you can see here, this is the implementation of our practice method on our cooking channel, and then this here is the implementation on our Singers YouTube channel. So what I want to do now is I want to create this Singers YouTube channel. Here we already have cooking YouTube channel. So it is a video, it is a code from one of my previous videos. And then what I want to do is I want to create Singers YouTube channel. So let's call it Singers YouTube channel, and let's say that it is going to be called, for example, John Sings, like this, and then owner is going to be a guy named John, like this. Okay, now after I have created this cooking YouTube channel and then this Singers YouTube channel, you can probably call it singing YouTube channel or something like that. This is the best name that I could come up with. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to invoke methods on these two classes, and the methods that I want to invoke are going to be these two, so practice and then this practice method as well. So here I'm going to say cooking YouTube channel dot practice, like this, and then let's invoke the same method for my Singers YouTube channel, like this. And now if I run my program, as you can see, it says that Amy is practicing cooking, and then John is taking singing classes and learning new songs and learning how to dance. I can imagine that. Okay. Now, after I have invoked these two methods, you can really see, oh, I have stopped my program, I'm sorry. So here you can see that this cooking YouTube channel has invoked its own method. So this cooking YouTube channel has invoked the method that has been implemented in this cooking YouTube channel class, which is this one here. And then this invocation, so this Singers YouTube channel, when you invoke practice method on that, this method here is going to be invoked. So this method that is implemented in Singers YouTube channel class. Now let's add another thing, and that is going to be here in this practice method, and then in this practice method as well. What I want to do is I want to say that each time that our user practices cooking and then practices singing, what is going to happen is the quality of that YouTube channel is going to increase. So in order to track that quality content rating, I'm going to create a property, and that is going to be here in this YouTube channel, in this base class. So I'm going to make that property protected because I want to have it accessible in my cooking YouTube channel and then in my Singers YouTube channel as well. So I want that property I want to access that property from my derived classes, and because of that, I'm going to make it protected. So here I'm going to say int, and let's call it content quality, like this, okay? And initially, I want to set the value of this content quality variable. In this constructor here, I want to set it to 0, like this, because I want to say that when you create your YouTube channel, this constructor here is going to be invoked, and you are going to have 0 subscribers, and you are going to have a 0 knowledge about content quality. So your rate, content quality rate, is going to be 0. So let's close that. And then what I want to do here in this practice method is I want to say each time that you practice, your content quality should increase. So let's increase that variable. Content, where is it? Content quality plus plus. So I'm going to increment that content quality, and then I'm going to do the same here, like this. Now let's say, for example, that my this singer here, John, he's going to practice a lot. So he has practiced 5 times more than Amy did. So if I run my program now, you can see that John is practicing, and then again and again and again. So he is practicing a lot, and Amy is not really. So what do I want to do with this content quality property? Well, let's say that I want to implement another method, and that method is going to be as well implemented here in this base class, and that method is going to be called check analytics, because that check analytics method should be available for all YouTube channels. So that is not something that is specific for this cooking YouTube channel only, or for this singing YouTube channel, so singer YouTube channel, but that method should be available for all YouTube channels, and because of that, I'm going to implement it in this base class. So let's say void check analytics, like this. Okay, and now what I want to do in this check analytics method is I want to use this property, this content quality property, in a following way. So I want to say if content quality is less than 5, I want to write out a message to my user. So I want to say cout, and then let's write out the name of this YouTube channel, like this. And then let's add a message which is going to say, let me copy that. Okay, this is going to say that this channel has a bad quality content because this content quality has a rating that is less than 5. And let's add nline. And then what is going to happen if this content quality is not less than 5? So if it is equal to 5 or greater than 5, I'm going to put else block here. And what I want to say here, okay, is that this channel has a good content, great content actually. Okay, like this. Now, what am I going to do with this check analytics method? Well, I'm going to try to invoke it here. But the way that I want to try to invoke this this method that we just implemented is going to be in a following way. So there is one very interesting thing when it comes to polymorphism, and that thing is related to pointers. At this point, I haven't made videos about pointers on my channel, but if you're watching this video sometime in the future, then those videos are probably available on my channel, so make sure to look for them on my channel and then in the description of this video as well. So let's create a pointer, and that pointer is going to be a pointer of our base class, so a pointer of type YouTube channel, okay, like this, and let's call it YouTube1. And what I want to do is I want to assign to this pointer here address of this cooking YouTube channel, and you can do that. You can assign to a pointer of a base class an address of derived class. So I'm going to say here, please, to this pointer, assign address of this cooking YouTube channel class, like this. And then what I want to do is I want to create another pointer. Let's call it YouTube2. And then to this YouTube2 pointer, I want to assign the address of my singer's YouTube channel, like this. So one more time, a pointer of base class can point to a variable of derived class. Now, what I can do using these pointers is I can invoke method that I have just created, which is this one here. So check analytics. So let's do that. Let's say YouTube channel 1, and then let's invoke this method. Let's say check analytics like this. And if you just noticed, it has changed my dot to this symbol here because this is used when you want to invoke methods using pointers. So I'm going to copy this again for my second YouTube channel like this. And now if I run my program, as you can see, our John has been practicing a lot, and then Amy has been practicing only one time. So here, after I have invoked these two methods, this first method says that Amy's kitchen has bad quality content because she hasn't been practicing enough. And then after this YouTube channel 2 check analytics, you can see that it writes out this message that John Sings channel has great content because he has been practicing a lot, as you can see here. Okay, so here we have used polymorphism in order to implement this practice method in our cooking YouTube channel and then in our singers YouTube channel. So implementation of our singers YouTube channel practice method is here, and then for our cooking YouTube channel, our practice method looks like this. And we have done that thanks to the polymorphism, so different implementations, but the same method name. And then I have demonstrated here how you can use pointers to point to an object of derived class, and you can store that in a pointer of base class. And then we have invoked this check analytics methods using these pointers of base class. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon as well, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye! Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video I want to talk about pointers, so I will go straight to the point. Pointers are a very important concept in C++, and they have many uses in C++. Now, pointers are not limited only to C++. They exist in other programming languages as well, but in most of those programming languages they are really hidden. They work behind the scenes, so you cannot see them and you cannot use them yourself. But in C++, you can use them and you can create your own pointers, and they can be pretty powerful if you know how to use them, but they can get quite confusing as well if you don't understand them well. So the first thing that I want to explain is what are pointers. So we already have explained the concept of a variable, and you should be familiar with that. So we said that a variable is just a container, so a container that stores certain value. Now a pointer is container as well, but instead of storing value, pointer stores an address, so a memory location. And let me show you how pointers work in Visual Studio. Let's create a variable of type int, and I'm going to call it n and assign it a value of 5. And let's write out this n like this. So nothing new here, we are already familiar with this, and if I run my program, as you can see, we get this value of 5, so that was expected. Now, as I already said, this n is a variable, and that means that it is a container which is storing certain value. Now, because it is a container, that means that it has its address inside memory, so it has its physical location. So how can we get that location? How can we check which address this n has? So in order to do that, you use this ampersand symbol like this. So you put it before your variable name, and that should give you the address of that variable. So if I run my program now, as you can see, now we have an address, and this is the address of our n variable. So this is its physical address where this value of 5 is stored. And because this is pretty hard for humans to remember, this is just a random numbers and characters. Because of that, we use meaningful names, and we access these values that we store in our memory using these meaningful names, which are our variables. So I'm going to close this now. And what I want to show you here is I want to show you how can you create a pointer that is going to hold this address of our n variable. So in order to create a pointer, you give it a type first. So you say int, and then in order to indicate that you are creating a pointer, you use this star symbol, and then you give it a name. So let's call it PTR pointer, and I'm going to assign it the address of our n variable. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Okay, now our pointer is holding the address of our n variable, and in order to prove that, I'm going to write out the value of my pointer like this. So as expected, we have this first line here, which is writing out the address of our n variable, and then this second line of code is this line here. And as you can see, we have written out the value of our pointer, and that is the same address as this one here, which means that our pointer really is storing the address of our n variable. Now, you may ask, how can I access, or can I access the value that is stored on that address using pointers? And the answer to that question is yes, you can. And in order to do that, in order to access the value that is stored on this address that your pointer is holding, you have to dereference your pointer. So how do you do that? Well, let me copy this. So as you already have seen, this line of code here is going to write out the address, and in order to write out the value on that address, you dereference the pointer. And in order to do that, you add this star symbol before your pointer's name. So if I run my program now, as you can see, in this last line of code, we have the value of 5, which is actually the value that is stored on this address here. So let me show you one more thing. What I want to do is I want to change the value that is stored on this PTR address. So on this address that our PTR pointer is storing. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to say, again, star symbol and then PTR. And this here means please access this memory location. So whatever I'm going to assign here is going to be stored on that memory location. And what I want to assign is, for example, value of 10, like this. So now if I copy this line of code and then paste it here, and if I run my program again, we have this value of 10 stored on this address here. And one interesting thing as well is that if we try to write out the value that our n holds now, like this, if I run my program, as you can see, our n holds the value of 10 as well, even though we have never said that n has the value of 10, but we have stored the address of our n in our pointer, and then we have dereferenced our pointer, meaning we have changed the value on that address here in this 11th line of code here. So that's why our n holds value of 10 now. One very important thing to keep in mind is that your pointer has to be of the same type like the variable that it is pointing to. So let's close this. So as I said, this integer pointer is pointing to an integer variable. So our n is of int type. And the same way would be if we created a float pointer, it would have to point to a float variable, and then char pointer can point only to a char variable, double, bool, and so on. So pointer and the variable that that pointer is pointing to have to be of the same type. Okay, so that means that if I try to change the type of this n variable to float, for example, like this, so if I say float, immediately we get an error here, and the error says a value of type float pointer cannot be used to initialize an entity of type int pointer, meaning you cannot assign address of a float type to pointer of int type. Okay, so that is the error that we have here, and I'm going to return this to int. Okay, and as you can see, that error has disappeared because now our pointer is pointing to the same type, so to the variable of the same type that that pointer has. So int pointer pointing to an int variable. One thing that beginners very often try to do is the following. So they say, okay, let's create a pointer. So int, let's give it a name ptr2, so pointer, like this. So I have created a pointer, right? So let's dereference this pointer and assign it a value. So I'm going to say, please dereference ptr2 and assign it a value of 7, for example. Now, this code here has a problem. And if I run it, if I say build solution, actually, as you can see, it says uninitialized local variable ptr2 used. This means that this ptr2, so this pointer 2, does not have an address. So where should it store this value of 7 if it does not have an address? And the easiest way right now to solve this problem is going to be to create a variable and to give the address of that variable to our ptr2 pointer. So I'm going to say int v. This variable has to be of the same type as our pointer, as we already said. And then I'm going to say here our ptr2 is going to hold the address of our v variable, like this. And now we shouldn't have this problem anymore. So if I build my code again, as you can see, one succeeded, so the problem has disappeared. And let me write out the value of this v variable. So I'm going to say v is equal to, and then let's write out the value of this v. And if I run my program, as you can see, it says that v has the value of 7 because we have assigned it here by dereferencing our pointer that is holding the address of our v. So you may say now, okay, Saldina, I understand this, but this seems a little bit too much. Why would I create a pointer just to assign a value to a variable? And the answer to that question is you don't. This is not the type of problem for which pointers were created in C++. So there are different problems that pointers solve in C++, and this here is just a demonstration of what are pointers and how can you create your own pointers. Now, examples of some of these other problems that pointers solve is you can use pointers in order to pass values by a reference to a function, and then you can use them to return multiple values from a function, which is an interesting one. You can use pointers in combination with arrays as well. You can use them for dynamic memory allocation, and then if you're familiar with OOP, object-oriented programming, you can use a pointer of a base class in order to access an object of derived class. And then there is this concept of smart pointers, which we are going to cover in the future. So I believe as well that I have mentioned some of these things in some of my videos, but I plan to make a dedicated series to pointers where we are going to talk only about pointers. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell icon as well so that you are notified when I publish my next video. And if you like this one, give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you in my next video where we will be talking about pointers. Bye! Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video I want to talk about void pointers. Now, in the previous video of this playlist I introduced you to pointers in general, so I explained what are pointers and how you can create your own pointers, and I said that a pointer is a special variable that can hold an address, and I said as well that a pointer can hold only the address of a variable that is of the same type as that pointer, which means an integer pointer can hold the address of an integer variable, and then a character pointer holds the address of a character variable, float pointer of a float variable, and so on. But there is an exception to that rule, and that is a void pointer. And a void pointer is a special type of pointer that can hold the address of a variable of any other data type. So a void pointer can hold the address of a float variable or an int variable or a char, bool, struct, whichever one you pass to that void pointer. But a void pointer has a limitation as well, and that limitation is that you cannot directly dereference a void pointer. So in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to create an example with the knowledge that we already have. So using only integer and character and float pointers that we are already familiar with. And then I want to introduce a void pointer in order to solve that problem so that you can see how void pointers are used. So let's jump into our Visual Studio. Here I want to create a variable and let's make it of int data type. So I'm going to say int and let's call it number like this. And I'm going to assign it a value of 5, for example. Now, what I want to do with this number variable is I just want to write it out. And because we are working with pointers, let's play with pointers some more. So I want to write out this variable using a function that receives a pointer. Let's do that. So that function is going to be of return type void, and let's call it print number like this. And then here this function is going to receive an integer pointer, and we are going to call it number ptr, so number pointer. Okay, now what this function here should do is it should just print out the value that this number pointer is storing. So actually the value that is stored on the address that this number pointer is holding. So in order to do that, we have to dereference this pointer. So I'm going to say star symbol and then put the name of this number pointer, and let's add an end line as well. Now this function is finished and it is writing out the value that is stored on the address that we pass to it, and we have to pass it the address of an integer variable. So if I invoke this print number function, let's say print number, as I said, since it is receiving a pointer, we have to pass it an address, and that is going to be the address of this number variable. So let's say ampersand number. So this here is going to give us the address of this number variable. Okay, and now if I run this program, as you can see, this function here has printed out value of 5, which is the value of our number. Okay, now what happens if I want to create a character variable and then print out a character variable as well? So let's do that. I'm going to say char, let's call it letter, and let's assign it a value of letter A. Okay, and now in order to print out this character using this same approach, I will have to create another function because this one here receives an integer pointer, and in order to print out a character we would have to create a function that receives a character pointer. So let's copy this function here and I'm going to call it print letter like this, and then this function is going to receive a character pointer. Okay, and that pointer is going to be called char ptr. And then here, I just want to write out the referenced value of that char ptr. So let's invoke this print letter function. Let's pass it the address of this letter variable that we have created here. And now if I run this program, as you can see, we have 5 for this first function and then A for this second function, which means that these two functions are doing its job. But what happens if I want to print out a floating point number and then a double and then a Boolean value and a struct value? In order to do each one of those, I would have to create a function that receives that specific data type pointer. But we can solve that same problem using a void pointer because, as we already said, a void pointer can point to a variable of any data type. So let's do that. Let's create a function that is going to print out any data type. So that function is going to be of return type void, and let's give it a name print. Because it is generic, it is going to work with all data types. I'm going to give it name of print, and as we said, that function is going to receive void pointer, and let's call that pointer ptr. Okay, now because this void pointer can point to a variable of any data type, we will have to keep track of which data type we have passed inside this void pointer. And in order to do that, I'm going to use another parameter here, and that parameter is going to be of type char, and I'm going to call it type. So how this type parameter is going to be used? Well, in a situation where we pass an integer pointer to this print function, here this type parameter is going to have a value of I. In a situation when we pass a character pointer to this void pointer here, in this type parameter we are going to pass a value of C. And then if we pass a float pointer here we are going to store an F. And then if we pass a double pointer here, this type variable should store a letter D, so that we can know how we are going to dereference this PTR pointer. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to check what this type variable is holding. So in order to do that, I'm going to use switch case like this. You can use if else as well if you want. So here I'm going to switch on this type variable like this, and what I want to do here is I want to say, in the case that this type variable is holding the value of I, that means that this here is an integer pointer. So here I'm just going to leave a comment for now. So I'm going to say handle int pointer like this, and then the other situation is going to be, in the case that this type variable is holding the value of C, that means that here we have passed a character pointer. So I'm going to leave another comment as well. So here I'm going to say handle char pointer. Okay, now let's explain how we are going to handle this integer pointer and then this character pointer as well. Well, as we already said, since a void pointer cannot be dereferenced directly, but we first have to cast it into a specific data type, so into an integer pointer or into a character pointer in this particular situation, I am going to do that. So here I'm going to say, in the case that our user has passed an integer pointer here, I will have to cast this void pointer into an integer pointer first. So how do you do that? Well, you say, please, this pointer here, so this PTR, cast that into an integer pointer. So this expression here is going to cast this void pointer into an